I think now more than ever, it's important that we talk about the character that is Yuri Lowell. For those of you who don't know, Yuri Lowell is the protagonist of Tales of Vesperia, a fantastic RPG. Please go play it if you haven't had the chance. And Yuri is one of the best aspects of that game. Actually, he's one of the best Tales of protagonists ever. And him being one of the older protagonists amongst his franchise allows for some really interesting story moments. Because by the time we're introduced to Yuri, he's an adult. He has already grown up and experienced life in the world that we are partaking in. And that life was the life of a commoner. You see, Yuri was orphaned at a young age and grew up in the lower quarter of the capital, essentially the slums. Things like poverty, famine, abuse towards those who are less fortunate was very common for him. But lucky for Yuri, he was raised by this community with nothing but love and support. And he vowed to fight and do everything he can to make people happy. But he is fully aware of how nobles perceive and treat those less fortunate, and he has a great disdain for them. Now, we're going to skip ahead a bit because there's a lot to his character, and if you want a video about these two, just leave a like and comment. So later on in the game, we end up in the place called Kapua Nur, and Kapua Nur fucking sucks. You could tell it's depressing as hell as soon as you step foot in this village. Mind you, this is a port town and not a single ship is at sail due to the inclement weather. If there's no mercantile activities in your port town, that means the city is going to go through a period of financial distress. But not having money in this town is a problem because the person who rules over Kapua Nur is a terrible person. This is Rigaud, and he is a piece of crap. He commits the worst crimes against the very people that he rules over, taxing his citizens to impoverishing levels, kidnapping and killing citizens and children, and taking the bodies of the same civilians that he has murdered and feeding them to monsters or selling their corpses. Now, the party does eventually catch Rigaud and they arrest him. But because he's a part of the Imperial Council, he uses that position to reduce the punishment he would get. Yuri sees the clear fuckery that is going on, understanding that nobles and rich people and people in positions of power will continue to do whatever they want as long as they have the power to do so. So Yuri takes matters into his own hands and kills Rigaud because he knows that the laws of the Empire will never punish Rigaud. And from this point forward, Yuri decides to operate outside of the law because once again, the laws only benefit those with power. And soon enough, he meets another asshole who's just as bad as Rigaud, who has slavery going on, and Yuri kills this guy too. Now, this causes issues with his best friend Flynn, who is a part of the Imperial Knights and trying to change the system from inside, but that is another video. Now, I bring this all up because I wanted to talk about how usually when there is anybody who murders a political figure or someone with power, that person who committed the murder is often viewed as some kind of monster. But Yuri's actually a pretty cool dude. He's kind, he's compassionate, he's understanding, and has a very weird sense of wisdom and a strong sense of justice. He just doesn't like watching his fellow man who is in poverty or anything like that, be subject to the violence and oppression of rich nobles. And to save those exact same people he cares about, he understands that sometimes you gotta knock people off.